Hey everyone, welcome to the UWorld MCAT channel. My name is Safala Buyadra, and I'm an MCAT tutor who scored in the 98th percentile. If you're feeling overwhelmed about how to approach the MCAT, you are not alone. You might be watching this video because you are probably somewhere at the beginning of your MCAT journey. Maybe you just decided to take it, or maybe you've been putting off studying and now the clock is ticking. Either way, you're in the right place. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to prepare for the MCAT, from building your schedule to what you actually need to study to how you practice. And by the end of this video, you'll have a clear roadmap that you can start following right away. Let's get into it. The first thing everyone asks is how long does it actually take to prepare for the MCAT? The answer? About 300 to 350 hours of dedicated study time. And for most students, that translates to about 3 to 6 months of preparation. And I know that sounds like a lot, because it is, but here's why. The MCAT isn't just one subject. It covers biology, biochemistry, general chemistry, organic chemistry, physics, psychology, sociology, and critical analysis. We are talking about the equivalent of multiple college courses, all rolled into one single exam. And not just memorizing facts. The MCAT tests your ability to analyze, reason, and apply concepts all under pressure. So, MCAT prep isn't just reading a few chapters. It requires content review, applying that knowledge, and taking practice exams to build the mental stamina you will need to be successful on test day. Now, 300 plus hours sounds intimidating, but when you spread those hours based on your availability, it becomes much more manageable. Let's just say you're working a job while you prep. Between work, class, and everything else in life, maybe you realistically have a couple of focused hours on the days you're not working. Well, in that case, a longer timeline, like a 6-month plan, is usually a much better fit. Trying to rush it when you only have a few hours each week is one of the fastest ways to leave points on the table. The goal is to study consistently enough that you retain what you are learning. On the other hand, if you're a traditional student who can commit to studying full-time, think 6 to 8 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week, you can cover all the MCAT material in about 3 months. Here's a simple way to map it out. Step 1, count how many weeks you have before your test date. Step 2, estimate your realistic daily study hours. Step 3, multiply that out. You want to hit roughly 300 hours total before exam day. And finally, step 4, build in buffer time at the end for full-length practice exams. For example, a 3-month full-time schedule might look like this. Month 1, content review. Month 2, heavy practice questions. Finally, month 3, full-length exams, targeted review, and improving your test-taking strategies. On the other hand, a 6-month part-time schedule stretches each of these phases but follows the same relative structure. The most important thing is to have a plan that you can realistically follow. A perfect study schedule that you can only keep up with for 2 weeks is much less valuable than a good schedule that you can stick with for months. The more you can track your progress and stay consistent, the easier this process becomes. Okay, now let's move on to the first core component of MCAT prep, content review. Most pre-med students have taken intro-level science courses, bio, chem, physics. You've seen this material before. But here's the reality. By the time you get to MCAT prep, a lot of it has faded. Maybe you took Gen Chem 2 years ago, you got the A, and now you can't remember what a galvanic cell is. That's completely normal and is exactly what content review is for. Content review is your foundation building phase. You're going through all of the high yield concepts the MCAT tests and making sure you actually understand them, not just vaguely remember them. The 2 best tools for this are MCAT books and video lessons. A good MCAT prep book should not feel like a college textbook. It should only include the must-know content, be concise, and keep you engaged as you read. You want something that gets straight to what matters without burying you in detail you're unlikely to see on exam day. And if a topic is still not clicking, that's where video lessons can really help. Sometimes reading the same paragraph 3 times is not enough. Maybe you need to hear someone explain a mechanism or walk through a concept visually for it to finally make sense. One important note, do not spend too long in the content review phase. I see this mistake constantly as a tutor. Students read and reread their books. They feel like they're being productive, but they haven't actually started practicing. Content review builds your base, but it doesn't train you how to take the MCAT. That happens in phase 2. This is where the real improvement happens. Practice questions are the core of MCAT prep. When I work with students, the ones who score the highest aren't necessarily the ones who read or highlight the most. They're the ones who practice the most and practice strategically. Here's why this phase matters so much. The MCAT doesn't just test whether you know a fact. It tests whether you can take information, reason through that problem, and apply what you know all under pressure. You can only develop that skill by actually doing it. So, how do you practice? I recommend the UWorld QBank. There are over 3,000 questions covering all the MCAT sections with incredibly detailed explanations. The questions are built to mirror the style and difficulty of actual AAMC exam questions. But here's the key. Don't just blow through the questions. The goal is not to do as many questions as possible, but instead to learn as much as possible from every question that you do. And after every question, especially the ones you get wrong, stop and genuinely review the explanation. Ask yourself, why was the right answer right? Why was my answer wrong? What concept did I miss or misapply? Write it down, make a flashcard, review it later that week. That active recall loop is one of the most effective ways to retain MCAT material long-term. I could tell you from personal experience, reviewing flashcards made a real difference in what I was able to recall on test day. And if you're reviewing an explanation and realize there's a deeper content gap, go back to your book or watch the corresponding video lesson. That's not a setback. That's the process working exactly how it should. The goal is a feedback loop. Practice, review, fill the gap, practice again. That is how you convert content knowledge into a solid MCAT performance. The final component is full-length practice exams, and this is where everything comes together. Think of it like training for a big game. You can practice skills all week, but at some point, you have to actually play. Full speed, full pressure, real conditions. Full-length exams are exactly that. They are your game day rehearsals. Full-length exams are important because they do 3 things. First, they help you build mental stamina. The MCAT is nearly 7.5 hours of testing. Your brain will inevitably get tired. You need to practice sitting through that entire experience so your test day doesn't feel like a shock. You have to build that mental endurance the same way athletes build physical endurance. I would highly recommend taking your full-length exams under the same conditions of your real one. This includes taking them at the mornings, having minimal distractions, and using the appropriate breaks that you will receive on test day. Full-length exams also help you get your timing down. Each section has a hard time limit. Full lengths train you how to pace yourself, know when to move on, and avoid getting stuck on a single question. They also help you identify trends. Your full-length scores will tell you exactly where you stand and where you still need work on. Plan for at least 5 to 10 full lengths before your test date. Spread them out. Don't cram them all at the end. And after every single one, review it. Go through every question you missed and understand why. Make flashcards to reinforce correct explanations and ensure that you don't make the same mistake again. The review session is just as important as taking the exam itself. As you build through this process, you'll start to see your scores trend upward. That's not luck. That's the result of deliberate practice, better timing, and the stamina you have built along the way. To recap, MCAT prep has 3 core components. 1, content review, where you build your foundation with books and videos. 2, QBank practice, where you work through questions, review deeply, and fill in knowledge gaps. And finally, 3, full-length exams, where you build your stamina, perfect your timing, and track your progress. Now, if you remember one thing from this video, let it be this. Successful MCAT prep is all about studying with structure. If you approach your prep with this structure and give yourself the time your schedule requires, you will put yourself in the best possible position on test day. If you're ready to start your MCAT journey, I've linked a free 7-day trial to UWorld's comprehensive MCAT prep course in the description below. It includes all 3 core components of MCAT prep that we covered today: the content, the QBank, and full-length exams, all in one place. Good luck, happy studying, and don't forget to like and subscribe this video for more MCAT content like this.